Hey, man, that was an abrupt stop. How's everybody doing? I'm Desmond Childs. This is ShckValue Voices. We are back again. We have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Cadillac Jack, Memphis recording artist, here with us again. It's been, I guess, probably 2 or 3 years since we last spoke at length. But how are you doing, sir? It's good to have you back on the show.
It is good to be back. I am doing as well as I can.
Hey, man, like we were talking before the show, we're just trying to survive in this arc of life, this pandemic arc, and doing the best we can, right?
For sure, man. That's all you can do sometimes is just your best.
Yeah, man. So I know since we last spoke, you were telling me you had really gotten into a lot in terms of projects and putting some content out. And so how has life been as an artist as of late, the last year or so?
Well, the last time we spoke was in 2019. I had just released the last album that I had released, Something Else.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty critically acclaimed and everything. But over the past 3 years or so, I've really just I feel different now, much different. I don't even feel like that same artist anymore. And it's gotten to the point where it's like late last year, or late 2020, I should say, in the thick of the pandemic and everything, man, I really sat and reflected on my music because I had released a project around March of 2020.
Okay.
And I kind of reflected on it, and I realized as I listened to that album that I didn't like it. I realized that I didn't like it, and I was sitting there just kind of thinking like, this is not the artist you wanted to be. I'm telling myself that you didn't want to be this.
Wow.
I feel like my last album I dropped in March 2020 was me typecasting myself. The same way that other people did. It was like, you're just this, rapper guy, and that's what you do. That's who you are. That's what people remember you to be. You know what I'm saying? That when people think of you, they think of Junior the rapper. You know what I'm saying?
So you felt like you typecasted yourself into a role. So you felt like you kind of auto put out that last project?
Yep. I feel like I phoned it in, the whole thing. And I was sitting there, man, and I really just kind of wanted to give up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, when I started making music, I told myself I would never deviate from doing this shit my way, the way that I wanted to do it, for the love of the art, for the love of the craft. I would never deviate from that for mass appeal. And I felt like that's what I did. I felt like that's what I was doing. And for the last couple of projects I put out, and it's not that I was putting out bad music, but it was more of a situation where it's like, yeah, the music's good, but you're not making the music because you like the music. You're making the music because people will like the music. And that's somewhere that I never wanted to be. So towards the end of 2020, I dropped Therapy Music 2. And that was kind of me deviating from who I had become, getting back to who I wanted to be. Because and it just so happened that project had no rap involved in it at all, aside from a feature that I added onto it. And when I dropped that, I realized that I had been ignoring an entire portion of who I was. I had been ignoring the fact that before I ever decided to rap, I was a singer.
Oh wow, okay. That's a good
choirs.
transition.
I had been like on TV and plays, and musicals, and all of that. I was always a singer, but I had kind of put that had kind of become the secondary. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And as time progressed, I released a couple of more projects. I released some singles, and I realized how great of an R&B artist I really was. And now that's kind of the bag I'm in, So all of my music from Therapy Music 2 in August 2020 to right now has all been R&B. And it's not, and it's honestly because I just kind of got bored with rap.
So
I
you got
wanted to check.
bored. You got bored with the status quo of what you had sort of built for yourself as an artist, of Cadillac Jack being that rapper who could sing, and then you wanted to turn that on his head to be an R&B artist who could rap, an R&B artist who had bars, right?
It was more of a situation, kind of, but not exactly. It was more of a situation. I wanted to go away from being a rapper that could sing to being an artist that can do everything.
Gotcha.
And that is where I wanted to be at.
Okay.
So, and it's not that I can't rap or I don't want to rap anymore. It's just that I am now going with the flow of wherever my inspiration takes me.
We know you can rap.
Yeah.
we know you can rap. Hey, so how big of a shift was that in terms of mentality? Was that a difficult thing to do, to think like a singer versus thinking like a rapper? Or is that something that you're able to do kind of seamlessly? Is there a great shift right there?
Oh, no, it was completely effortless.
Okay.
It was completely effortless because it was something that never left me. You know what I'm saying? It's always been there. I just been ignoring it. And the biggest shift for me was changing the name, the stage name. That was the shift. Used to be Junior. Changed my name to Cadillac Jack because I felt like it was time. Because I felt like I was like kind of turning into the artist I wanted to be. And Junior was tied to the artist I was.
Gotcha.
And I felt like it was time for, since I evolved as an artist, I needed a name to represent that. And I was already kind of being referred to as Cadillac Jack. It kind of started off as a joke, which was funny, but then it kind of became a personality. So I took up the mantle. I changed my name on all the streaming platforms and everything, and now that's who I am, man. And but that's been the biggest shift because people are still calling me by Junior because that's like what I was remembered as. And it's not that I want the name to die. I mean, that's still a part of who I am.
Right.
But living in the now, this is just where I'm at. And I don't know, man. It was a scary change because I didn't know how it would catch on, but it's caught on, man, and it's honestly been one of the better decisions I've ever made.
Yeah, it sounds like it was part of your growth as an overall artist, and you making that shift, it makes you more of a complete recording artist. You're able to do a little bit of everything, like you said earlier. But now that we on the subject of rapping versus singing, and you're incorporating that into your overall portfolio as an artist, what if somebody had never heard Cadillac Jack record before, or heard you rap in person, or heard you like on a video? How would you describe yourself, like your musical styling, so to speak? How would you put the spin or sell Cadillac Jack and his flavor, so to speak?
All right. I am relatable, I'm adaptable, and I'm dynamic.
Okay.
So like I put those things together. Like I don't really make a lot of music that I myself have not either lived through or seen. I'm not really big on that, because if I do that, it takes the feeling out of what I'm saying.
Right.
And I never want the feeling to be taken out of any music I put out to the public. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of what I deal with and a lot of what I go through on a daily basis, a lot of people also deal with and go through, and they might not have the words to say, or they might feel like ain't nobody understanding their struggles. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we've all been there.
Yeah.
So I like to keep my music relatable, not on purpose and not for the sake of being relatable, but that's just kind of who I am. I say I'm adaptable because I don't believe that there is anyone anywhere who is a better songwriter than I am. I don't think anyone can create as well as I can. You know what I'm saying? Or better than me, I should say. Yeah. People are great. I am also great. Like I put myself there with some of my favorite songwriters in mainstream media. You know what I mean? And I say I'm dynamic because I'm always looking to evolve. Even now, I feel like I've never been better, but I still feel like I can be better. If that makes any sense.
No,
So
yeah,
it's like,
you're always working toward, you're always pushing for more, or looking to improve.
yeah, you know, and even
Yeah,
like the things I'm working on now, there's a lot of experimentation
mm.
involved in that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Like
noticed that.
I
I caught on to
mhm,
some of that, catching up myself on some of the projects, man. I've noticed
yeah.
you've put yourself out there, taking more risks, try different things musically, and
Mm.
it's to me it's come out great. You know, it's really dope to see
Yeah.
artists really push themselves for more.
Yeah, like I don't want to see any stones unturned when I'm done with this, whenever that may be. You know, I want to make sure that anything I thought that I might be able to, excel at musically, I want to
Mm.
make sure I at the very least gave it the best attempt I could.
Right.
So yeah, man. That's
What
what I would
is
tell anybody.
would you say, I guess with your process, every artist has a process. Would you say that the songwriting is where you spend the most time kind of putting it together? Because some artists, it's more of a vibe. The lyrical content is there, but it's not there in a sense. It's not wordy. It's kind of just, it's hitting on the right notes. The artist can feel that vibe in the music. And you have other artists that are a little more wordy. They're painting a picture with the words. It's poetry sort of thing. Or do
Um,
you feel like you spend most of your time with the songwriting aspect, or are there other things you've kind of shifted toward as you've grown as an artist?
for me, the lyrics are last.
Okay.
The lyrics are last because the lyrics are the thing I have to think about the least. So I
Okay.
put them last. Because once I establish what the song will be about, once I establish melodies, once I arrange the way that I want melodies to sound in
Uh-huh.
the song, and I put that skeleton together, once that's together, the words just kind of happen. So I never really have to do a lot of thinking about what I'm writing. So the lyrics always come last for me.
Mm.
I want the general vibe and ambiance of the song. That's what's most important because
Right.
for a lot of people, that's what's gonna draw them in.
Mm-hmm.
The way that the song makes them feel is gonna draw them in more than what I'm saying in it. And it's not, and I'm not at all saying the lyrics are not important because they are very important to me. I definitely still want to make sure that what I'm saying matters. But at
Right.
the end of the day, and I don't want to say that it's secondary either, because for me, every aspect of songwriting and every aspect of song creation is equally as important.
Right.
But for me, myself personally, lyrics come last for me. I need the feeling of the song to exist. And that's the hardest part for me because, it's like, how can I arrange this song in a way that is going to attract, or not attract, but it's going to bring about the feelings I want to bring about in this song?
Yeah.
And that'd be tough. And I'd be sitting there for a while, man, just thinking, trying to figure out how I want that to go. But it's all important to me, man. But the lyrics is definitely like last on my list when I'm constructing a song.
Let me ask you this, man. Are you a volume shooter when it comes to your music? Are you a heavy writer? You got books and books just sitting ready to be recorded? Or are you sort of I'm gonna set this amount of time to write, record, get it out, and I'm gonna take a break? Everybody's different.
I'm far more close to the second,
Okay.
the latter there.
Mhm.
I don't have books and books of songs that I'm just sitting on, because it's hard for me to really write. I can't really write a full song like that if I don't already have melody, instrumental, like if I don't have those things. That's why, when I say lyrics are last, it's because it's the last thing that I even do. If
Okay.
for most of the time. So
Because I
most
heard
of
you.
the song,
I'm sorry. I heard you say that, and I was like, okay. So he could either mean that he's got lyrics on deck, like he's got them written down, or it's something that comes a little more naturally to you in terms of
yeah.
coming up with the lyrical content.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Like I
Mhm.
like for the things that I write to be completely organic. And the way that I do that is I like to make sure that what I'm saying doesn't just match with the instrumental or the beat that I'm recording on, but they become one entity.
I got you.
So it's not like you can't separate one from the other. So when I create songs, I need my instrumental because the way that I craft my songs is that you can't separate my words, my melodies from the instrumental. It's all one thing. So I write it all together. So, and I know for a lot of people that's unorthodox because I talk to a lot of artists and they have this huge backlog of things that they write, and it's just kind of sitting there until they find something to put those words on. But it's hard for me to do that. So
that's interesting, isn't it? Like I wonder if I was an artist, if I would be able to record that authentically or make it feel organic, because that could have been something I wrote 2 years ago. I could be a completely different person depending on how life has gone for me. You know what I'm saying? I think that's interesting.
Yeah. And you said something in the original question you asked me. You said, do I like get it all out and then take a break? I always do that. And the reason why I do is because for me, my art is such a huge part of me, and it's linked to my emotions so much. And so much of what I write honestly takes a lot out of me. It really does. Okay. On a mental and emotional level, because a lot of what I write, just about everything I write about, is directly linked to real events in my life. So when I put out a project, that's a hefty amount of emotions I've expended. Right. So once it's out and I'm like, promoting it, I usually for a little while don't write anything.
Yeah, that's a real artist right there, man. You putting everything into it, man. I can feel it.
Yeah,
that's good though.
So yeah, like that's how I do. I don't really do like finish a project, go directly to the next project. I need time.
Yeah, and that's special, man. Like what you said there is really special. When an artist, I know it drains, and it's you guys are the starving artists walking the streets of Italy and France and all that during the Renaissance time, trying to paint something and make a living, and people looking at your art like, this is amazing. Here, have some bread. You know what I mean? Or it's just one of those things where it is something that definitely goes unappreciated, the amount an artist puts into their work. And you can kind of tell where an artist puts something out where it may be quality work, but they didn't necessarily lose a sliver of themselves in that music versus somebody you like, God dang, like they put their soul in this. Like I can feel this,
Yeah, we kind of touched on it like before, earlier when I was saying like there's like a lot of music today, even though I'll never just be like music today sucks, because it doesn't. There is something for everybody out there, and all it takes is a couple of clicks on the internet or just browsing through Spotify or something. You gonna find something that resonates with you. So I don't subscribe to that. I don't know if I can curse on here. So I've been I don't subscribe to that at all.
Right.
But there is in a lot of music, that a lot of modern current music, there's often a lot of feeling lost in music. People, and you can, and like you said, you can hear it. You can hear when somebody is really putting themselves into their art, and when people are just creating art because they're good at creating art.
Yeah.
Like even if it's good, and even if it sounds amazing and this and that, there's a feeling that's lost. So you can't get as invested or connected to it as you might want to, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it's quality. And that, and I also don't want to say that like it's a bad thing, because it some people don't get that deep into their what they create. A lot of people, they're like, I'm a great writer, so I'm gonna just write this great song, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me personally, I need the feeling. You know what I mean? So,
and it's okay if people are like that, they put that out there, and I just think it's important as a consumer when you're listening and hearing something, there's always a part of me that's like, where were they at? Where were they going? Even like the club songs, it's just like, okay, was this manufactured, or is this them really kind of breaking down how it goes when it goes down and whatnot? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always interesting to get a glance at the anatomy of each person's process and how they do it. Because everybody, like you said, everybody does it differently. Doesn't mean it's better or worse. It's everybody has their own process to it, man.
Right, for sure.
All right. I guess we kind of was touching on it before, man. Like, what the state of rap right now? I know you said people can go on Spotify. What I guess musical stylings? We talked about yours a little bit. What is it that you're listening to right now, music wise?
As far as rap goes,
and I know you R&B, anything really, because just in general, I've really been into like a lot of 70s and 80s soul music, because the amount of emotion that a lot of people put into their work, because back then, man, like that was people's escape, you know what I'm saying? That was their escape. That, and for a lot of people, that was how they talked about a lot of the things that they dealt with. So there was always just this very tangible layer of emotion in that music, you know. And the reason why I've been so drawn to it is because that is exactly the level of emotion I want in my music at all times. And I draw a lot of inspiration from a lot of like a lot of soul and R&B artists and blues artists from back then, because you listen to those songs and you felt something, you know what I'm saying? You felt exactly what they intended for you to feel, and the reason you do is because they felt what they intended for you to feel. And I feel like I said, I feel like that's missing in so much music, even if the music's good. Like these days, I feel like there's a lack of it. There's a lack of, I felt this when I wrote this. I had these emotions in me when I wrote this. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I am putting those emotions into this song and putting it out to the world, so that other people who may have felt these emotions can, one, feel like they are not alone in how they feel, and two, have something that can resonate with them when they need it. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you know, it's a little bit more than just being relatable, you know, because you could be relatable and might not put, you know, that same level of emotion in your craft. It's more than being relatable. It's actually, you know, having just a resonating aura in your music. And I feel like a lot of artists don't have that. And it's not always because they just don't want to do it, but some people don't know how to put their emotion in their music like that. They don't know how. But for me, man, that's the way that I have to do it in order to feel like I'm, like, for me personally, in order to feel like I'm really the artist that I want to be. I want to be the artist that people hear and be like, that's a man who's, you know, not afraid to like let his emotions show, that I can relate to, you know, that Cadillac Jack song, you know, really made me feel like I'm not alone out here, you know. Like that's what I'm looking for. And I feel like a lot of artists back in the day, man, that's how they went about creating. And so that's just kind of where I've been at. I ain't listened to a whole lot of rap, and it's really just because, honestly, I just haven't really cared about too much rap. I'm gonna be honest. Just like everybody else, man. You just have kind of your you have a notion to listen to a certain type of music, and you just go with it.
Yeah, like I'm a, you know, and it's nothing against rap, because there's quite a few rappers that I really enjoy that are out right now, but I don't want to hear rap currently. I'm gonna come back around to it, you know, and catch up on all this, on everything that I didn't kind of missed out on. But right now, that's just not where my mind is. But I think overall, the state of music is in a very good place. I think it might be in one of the best places it's ever been, because it's more accessible now, And again, there's so much music out there from so many outlets for so many people. Even like the TikTok trends, you know what I'm saying? A lot of that is based off of music. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
I don't personally like TikTok too much, but it's a very accessible and necessary platform, especially for young up and coming artists,
Mm.
because it's how you get out there, man. And I'm trying to dabble into it just to, see what I can get out of it. But at the
It's
same
very
time, like,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting to navigate that platform, to be honest with you.
So anything
Um,
shorthand like that is just like, I know I can use this, but it's gonna take I gotta have a meeting with the wife. Like like we can use it, but it's very different than what people are used to doing. You know.
yeah, but because of the fact that TikTok even exists in that way, a lot of people talk a lot of nonsense about how bad the state of music has gotten, and I don't believe it's bad at all. I think it's amazing. I think
Mm.
it's amazing how just like the sheer volume of ways you can make yourself heard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not only that, but again, because of the fact that there's so many ways to make yourself heard, people from all walks of life with all kinds of talent and skill levels are everywhere. And I
Mm.
think that's beautiful. I think that's beautiful. And I think that music has never been as good as it is right now.
Okay. Okay. Um, I mean, we pretty much touched on everything. Let me ask you this. I know you said you were one of the things you're most proud of is your writing. What who among your peers do you really you really value their writing skill, and you can peep that in their arsenal as a recording artist?
Um, I have a one of my peers named his name is James Cole on Facebook. His artist name is Jay Discreet,
Mm.
and he is probably, if I'm inspired by any of my peers, is him for sure.
Mm. Okay.
Because his writing kind of mirrors mine in a way to where it's like uh you could tell that he's really writing about real life events that he's putting himself into. One
Right.
of my favorite performers in the city, and probably the only person in the city who you could argue is as good of a songwriter as me, or possibly better. Um, Honestly, other than that, I would say I have a bunch of like favorites as far as my peers go.
Mm.
Oh, one more. His name is Virgos, and yeah, he's also another one, man. He inspired me just in the fact that he's super experimental. So
Mm.
like,
Okay.
even in a situation where it's like he's like, man, I don't know if I should even be doing this. This is way out of my lane.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You challenging yourself for sure.
But I'm going for it anyway.
Right.
And that was inspiring to me because that's what I wanted to do, and that's the path that I'm on now. And quite
Mm.
honestly, I have to give him some credit for for doing that himself and having me in a spot where I'm like, I'm gonna do it too. um, but
Okay.
those are probably my two favorites in the city that I listen to regularly.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Hmm.
I forgot to mention that earlier in the show. My bad.
Oh
We're
yeah,
not from
that's where I'm at.
All right,
Yeah.
man. Like as always, we're definitely I'm gonna bring you on just talk about music, man. We gotta get back together for sure. I appreciate you coming on with me, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm always down to chat with you, man. Because much like the ticker on the bottom of the screen says, I think I think that you are a great interviewer and not just a nigga asking questions. And
Hey,
that is
I
important
appreciate
to
it.
me. That is
I
important to me.
appreciate it.
So it's all you got to do is let me know, and I get myself ready to go.
For sure, man. I appreciate it again. Thanks for stopping by, and yeah, we'll start. Gotta chat again. Gotta do it again. Appreciate it.
For sure, man. I appreciate you having me.
All right. All right, man. We wrapping it up. That is ShckValue. I'm Desmond Childs. Again, you can catch the show every Monday. We're going to do it tonight, every Monday at 8 o'clock Central Time. Sometimes we'll adjust it for later. Just keep an eye. I'm on Twitter at DesmondChilds1. And yeah, I'll be back here with Jazzy Nay. And I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. Peace.